One of your themes in your speech is virtue and wisdom. We all agree that virtue is the mark of a good person. In reality, however, virtue may be costly, and people may have little desire for it. Thus, you have sacrificed a great deal in trying to live a life of virtue and wisdom. Can you please say something to those of us who hesitate about virtue, who have yet to commit to a life of virtue? Please.
It would sound very arrogant if I was to say that I was full of wisdom and virtue. So I would like to say very simply that what I've always tried to do is to develop a sense of responsibility, to try to fulfill my duties as best as possible. And that, for me, is the biggest virtue of which I'm capable. I'm not sure whether I'm virtuous in the sense in which other people think of virtue, but I certainly put a lot of importance on duty, and I try to fulfill my duty as far as possible, and I try to acquire as much knowledge as I think it is necessary for me to carry out my duties. So in that sense, what I have done is to try to live with a clear conscience, and that is the biggest, best freedom in the world.
My question to you is, during the many years of seclusion and isolation, how do you keep your faith and maintain a clear mind? What will be your advice to our young generation when going through hardship in life?
I'm going to mention a word which is perhaps not fashionable anymore, but it is very important: discipline. That's how I managed to go through these years of isolation. I led a very disciplined life, and that's how I managed to keep my faith. Young people these days perhaps do not put such a value on discipline, but if they only knew how much it would help them in times of trouble, then I think they would learn to value discipline a lot more than they do now.
The Chinese Nobel Prize winner Liu Xiaobo is still in prison in China. As a fellow Nobel laureate, what message do you have for Liu Xiaobo and for other Chinese dissidents who are in similar situations? And also, if you do get a chance to talk to Chinese leaders, I'm wondering what would you say to them? Thank you.
First of all, my message to all those who are in prison in some way or the other for their beliefs, I would like to say to them, you must keep faith with yourself. That is the most important thing. If you cannot keep faith with yourself, you will not be able to lead a full and peaceful life, and a life of inner peace. So you have to keep faith with yourself. And my message to the Chinese leaders would be very simple. China is a great country. The Chinese people are a great people with a marvelous and long history behind them. You can afford to take new steps. You can afford to be daring. You can afford to allow room for all kinds of opinions. So that is my simple message. You are a greater people than you think you are. So please open up your greatness to everybody else.